Hi everyone. In this lesson, we're going to sketch out a quick idea for a keychain using our initials. So if we create letters, we know that they're going to print as separate shapes, and they won't be connected together. We want to make it a keychain, we're going to have to add a part that connects our letters together. And so we're going to need a circle that will have a hole through it that'll allow us to put something in here. And we can move all of our shapes to overlap so that if we overlap them with our loop here at the top, we'll be able to see our shapes connected together. And when we print it, it'll all come out as one piece. We are going to design a keychain using just our initials. I'm going to move my example out of the way here, and we'll get started from scratch. So we go down to our text shape in the basic shapes palette. Let's drag the text in here. You can see that in the shape controls for the text shape, we have the first one is a text box where we can type our letters in. Now, if I were to type all three of my initials, let's make them capital. There we go. Then we'll have one shape, the text shape, that has all three letters in it. This is not what we want since I can only move them as one object. Now there's no way for me to attach them together unless I use another object between them. So let's instead turn this into one letter, and then we can copy and paste it. So now we have a second letter where I can change the text to my A here. I will paste another one and then change the text to my S. There we go. Now you can see that each one of these letters is a separate shape. I can move it around, overlap just a little bit, and you can see that all three letters will end up being one solid object. The last thing we need is something to make it into a keychain, and so we're going to go down even further here and find the tube. And when we drag out the tube, you can see, if we're looking at it from above, that it's maybe a little small to attach to all of these letters. So we can use our handles here to change the size of the tube until it is big enough to touch all three of our letters and make this a single solid shape that's pretty sturdy. We can also use these handles on our letters to change their shape if we want to make sure that they touch each other, and if we want to make sure that it just looks a certain way. So if we like our letters to be more narrow, we can make the entire thing in a little bit more. And there we go. Once we're happy with our design, we're going to click and drag from an empty space to select all of the pieces at once. And then we are going to click on Group. The Group button only lights up when you have more than one shape selected, and once you group it, it is going to operate as if it is one single shape. You can see that all of it is together as one unit. However, it's still pretty tall. So let's click on the center handle here. We can see that the whole thing is 10 millimeters tall, which is pretty thick for a keychain. So I am going to make it half that. Let's go down to 5. 5 millimeters will be thin, but not so thin that it can bend. And there we have it. Now we are ready to print. We are going to set up our Keychain project to print. So the first thing that we'll need to do is select the object that we have in our TinkerCAD design and move over to the Export button. Over here we want to download just the selected shape, just in case you have something off screen that you've forgotten about, and we're going to make it an STL file. Once it downloads, it's going to have an STL with the same name as your TinkerCAD project. So make sure that you have a useful name on your TinkerCAD project. And now we're going to switch over to Cura. In Cura, I have my printer and my plastic set up. And so we are going to click on the folder here to open and get our recently downloaded file. And now we can see that our object is right there in the center of the floor. I want to rotate around and make sure that the bottom is flat on the surface of the printer. And you can tell that a downward face is touching the floor because it's highlighted in blue. If I were to move this up, you'd see it's highlighted in red, meaning it's not touching the floor. If there's a problem, then we might have to go back to our design and make sure that all of our shapes are on the floor. And you can do that by taking a look at your design from the side, and if you see any part that is up or down from where it should be, you can ungroup, choose your part that's up in the air, and hit D for drop to make sure that it's on the floor. Once you've got everything sorted out, you can group it again and export a new fixed version. Now that we're sure that this is ready to print, we're going to go over to our quality and actually turn it down to low. Even though it is called quality, it actually means the height of each of the layers. And because we are making a shape that is straight up and has no smooth curves on it, we can use thicker layers to print it faster without actually making it look any worse. So we're going to go to a thicker layer height and then hit slice. Now it says it's going to take 22 minutes to print. We'll take a look at the preview just to make sure that our design shows that all the parts are going to be printed as one solid piece. You can see all of the lines that the printer is going to make as it draws each of our shapes. Once you're happy with that, we'll save it to file. Make sure that it has a good name, and then you are ready to upload for print.